Hey everyone, it's Christina, and we're back with another professional development workshop. This week we'll be going over how to market yourself. What we'll be going over is LinkedIn tips and resume tips. So, first is LinkedIn tips. So, I'm going to be going over the LinkedIn profile basics, such as profile nameplate, about, experience, and volunteer experience. So, first we'll go into profile nameplate. So, for your profile nameplate, you should have a headshot of yourself. This shouldn't be a group photo. And then for your title, this is the first thing that people see when they go onto your LinkedIn. So it should focus on your specialty and it should be eye-catching. And then for your background, this increases views. And next we'll be going over your about. So this should contain certain keywords so that it has searchable content. So when people look up these keywords, your profile will pop up. So this about should contain your major, year, and interests, and then how many skills that you have that could possibly catch somebody's eye. And then experience, for your experience, you should include paid opportunities, any leadership roles you have, anything related to your career growth. And the description should be the same as your resume plus more. Since your resume doesn't contain a lot of space to list out a lot of stuff, LinkedIn is the place where you can really expand on those descriptions and just give more details about them. And then also be sure to add any media related to any of these experience so that you can show off your work and people have things to see about any work that you've done. And then you could also adjust the order of these experiences and put your strongest experience at the top so that you can showcase anything that you're more proud of. There's also volunteer experience, so this could also contain leadership roles, any nonprofit roles, or any passions. This is also, the descriptions would be the same as your resume description with added media so that you can expand on these roles. Personally, I usually put my club roles under volunteer experience. I would put any club roles under experience if you don't have a lot of work experience or internships, because experience is definitely the first thing that recruiters see when they see your profile. So I would put those there. And then once you have enough work experience, I would suggest moving those volunteer experiences or club roles into your volunteer experience category so that your experience category isn't too cluttered. So next is skills and endorsements. So in this section, you can list as many skills as you want so that you can expand on all the skills that you think would be marketable. So the top three are your best skills. They're usually the skills that you think you're the strongest in or the skills that you've gotten the most endorsements in. So be sure to include skills that are related to your career. You could include public speaking and things like that. But if you're going into a software role, I would suggest putting things like C++, Python, Java, JavaScript, kinds of things that are more the stuff that people are searching for in those types of keywords. And then also be sure to increase endorsements so that it looks like you're highly skilled and that you have certain people that are sort of saying that you also have these skills. And then also, there happens to be LinkedIn assessments that LinkedIn has at the moment. These also show that you're very familiar with these skills. So if you have the time and you believe that you're adequately prepared to take an assessment on these skills, I would suggest taking a LinkedIn assessment, but only if you think that you're strong in these skills, since after you take a LinkedIn assessment, I believe it locks you out for about 3 months before you can retake it. So be sure that you're ready to take these assessments, or just take it for the first time if you think you're ready, and then see how the assessment works, and then in 3 months actually try to prepare for the assessment so that you can get the certification. So education. For education, you would focus on your current university, any study abroad that you've had while you were in university, and high school. Possibly high school is optional. You don't have to put this in your LinkedIn since it's not really relevant, since it's not something people are searching for. Be sure to also include any honors or dean's list accomplishments that you've gotten, or any campus involvement, such as any clubs that you're involved in on campus. And do not repeat from any of the previous sections, since it looks a little repetitive if you have the same thing over and over again within many sections of your LinkedIn profile. You could actually possibly expand on these if you have any officer roles within any of your activities and societies that you have and you want to expand on the description. But if you're just listing these out and you're just a member, I would suggest not repeating them within multiple categories. So for accomplishments, these highlight any other achievements that are school or non-school related, and these also increase your views when people are searching you up. So some things to add to this accomplishments section is any publications you have, any certifications you have that are relevant, any patents, any major courses that you have taken, and any class projects that you have or personal projects that you have done, any honors such as Dean's List, and then any scores that you have. I would recommend not really putting in high school scores such as ACT and SAT unless you've just graduated high school, and those are the only things that you can show for like your skills. But once you've taken a couple of your major classes and you have your courses to show, it's not really relevant anymore. But some other things to put on there is if you're applying for graduate school, you could possibly put in your GRE or MCAT scores, and those would be more relevant than any SAT or ACT scores. So gaining connections. So some ways to gain connections are to look through LinkedIn suggested connections. So they show people who have worked at your companies who you might know who have shared connections, people who go to the same university as you who share connections who you can possibly connect with. I wouldn't recommend necessarily sending out a lot of invites to people who you don't know just for the sake of having them on your network. If you believe that this person, like you could reach out to them or they could have like some sort of benefit to you, I'd recommend adding them. But just adding a ton of people just for the sake of having a lot of connections isn't really beneficial. And also for the recommended for you, you could also look through these connections, and then these are also relevant connections with mutual connections and anyone that has any relevance to you who LinkedIn believes that you would have the potential to have a good connection with. And then also for gaining connections, you could also add people that are alumni of UC Riverside. You could possibly, there's a search engine within like UC Riverside under the university on LinkedIn, which shows like which industry these people go into, where they're currently living. So that you could possibly connect with these people. You could say like, oh, I want to go into the tech industry. I also am wanting to move to the Bay Area. So you could possibly look them up based on those search results, also based on where they're currently working, so that you could ask them how their experiences are and then see anyone that's working there that you could possibly connect with. So on the right, we have a possible email or message that you can send to somebody who you want to connect with, who is a recruiter. This would be a good way to connect with recruiters rather than just adding them to your network and then hoping for the best. This would be a way to kind of get your foot in the door by saying, hey, I'm interested in your company. This is why I'm interested in your company. These are some of the skills I have, and this is why I would be great to fill any positions that you have, or if you want to reach out to me in the future about any positions that you have open. So finding opportunities on LinkedIn. So there's also a way to search up opportunities on LinkedIn. So you can search up any internships or any full-time roles that are available. This is a great way to find any internships or jobs that are within certain search results. So you can look up where specifically you want to work. So right in the search result that I have up here, it just lists the United States, which is a pretty like general. But if you want to work specifically anywhere such as in the San Francisco Bay Area, Los Angeles, Riverside, or anywhere that you would want to work, you can search up those locations. And you can search up a more specific search result rather than intern, such as software engineering intern, marketing intern, any internship that you would want to get and gain experience in. And then there's also a lot of different categories that you can specify the search to, such as sorting by how close you are to the internship, looking up the date posted, and then also lots of different categories so that you can search up any jobs that are specific to the ones that you want to find. So also we're going to go over the open to opportunities section of your profile. So this is a way to showcase to any recruiters that you're open to opportunities and that they can feel free to reach out to you if they have any opportunities that they feel you would fit. So this is a great thing to have on your profile so that any recruiters that want to reach out to you can reach out to you and they know that you would be interested in what they have to offer. So next we're going to be going over resume tips. So on the left is a resume outline that shows all the different categories within the resume and then how you should separate your resume so that it's eye-catching and then also so that it's easy to read. I feel as though this resume format is personally one of the best ones since it's a lot cleaner than a lot of the other resumes. I know there's a lot of resumes formats that you can choose from that are a lot more eye-catching and are a lot more colorful, but I feel like those like different things distract the recruiter from the actual information on the resume since it kind of just like catches your eye in many different directions, whereas this one is more of like a top-down, easier to digest format which doesn't have a lot of distractions away from the actual information. So this is just a overview over what I think should be the format of a resume. And then on the right, you have the resume writing tips for engineers. So this is a long list. So I would recommend just like pausing the video if you want to, and then going over this list. So pretty much like just give suggestions on how to make your resume a lot more appealing for recruiters who are recruiting engineers so that it's a lot more straightforward. It pretty much like suggests that you put more skills that are relevant to that engineering position so that it's a lot more easier to look for any keywords within your resume and then also to have like a lot of those buzzwords. Next, we're going to be going over resume basics. So this is my resume and I just wanted to dissect each part of the resume so that we could go over what I believe that should be on a resume. So first we'll have the header. This should contain your name, of course, your location, your email, and any contact details that you want them to know. This should also contain your LinkedIn, and then if you're going for a software engineering, software development, or anything software related, you should add your GitHub account so that they can access any projects that you have or any side projects or any class projects that you've posted on your account. Next section would be your experience. So in your experience, you should list out any internships, any part-time jobs, or any employment that you've had. It doesn't necessarily have to be relevant to the job that you're searching for. Any job that you've had in the past should be good to show that you can work on a team, that you have good time management skills, and you have the ability to hold a job. And the next section would be languages and technologies. This shows any of the skills that you have that are sort of like buzzwords or relevant skills that are relevant to the job. I would try to add any skills that you believe that would appeal to the employer. So if you have any skills that you believe are relevant to that job, I would list them. I would also not suggest adding any skills that you're not too comfortable talking about to this section, since they may ask you about these skills on an interview, and then if you're not able to answer any questions that are related to this skill, they might take that as a red flag that you might not be skilled in some other things that you've listed and that you might just be adding stuff to make it seem like you're qualified. And then next is the education section. So in your education section, you should list out the full name of your university. So for us, University of California, Riverside. Under this, you would also put your expected graduation date, your major, any relevant coursework that you've taken, and then also any club positions that you have within the university. Next is projects. So in this section, you can put any side projects that you've worked on at any hackathons or any time that you've done a project just in your free time. And for additional experience and awards, you can put any experience that doesn't really fit into work experience, and then any awards that you've gotten at school or outside of school. So this is my resume. Feel free to pause the video if you want to look at how I put my resume together. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, be sure to ask them in the comments.